So I love being a dermatologist because when I was younger, I started oil painting. These are some of my paintings on the walls, and this is the perfect career for somebody who wants to do something visual. And the skin is your largest canvas of your body. So for me, it's the natural progression of art. And I just love it because I get to see so many different things. I get to see children that are as old as 1 day old, and then I get to see elderly patients. 1 minute I'll be injecting or taking off a skin cancer, and the next minute I'll be injecting someone's lips. So no two rashes are the same, and every minute is very different, so it's exciting. All right, you are done. Love you, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, Teddy, come sit. If you don't have a good visual eye, and you don't have good ability to look at color, it makes the specialty actually very hard. And you can't just look at a picture when you do dermatology. You really have to touch the patient. So it's the touch, the feel, and I knew in medical school that I didn't really like carrying around my stethoscope. So I needed something where my pockets were a little lighter and something that I would see immediate gratification. And I like the fast pace, and I like seeing lots of people, and I get to learn so much about them. Like it? Yeah. Awesome. They look good.
Yeah.
Totally natural. A lot of dermatology is actually psychology, and it's amazing to me that I can see a patient with terrible cystic acne. They can't look me in the eye, and then about 6 months later, I've cleared their skin and their self-esteem has gone way up. That's what I love about my job.
I want to do that too. This Memorial Day weekend is a traditional kickoff to the summer tanning season. But before you decide to soak up the sun, you must remember sun safety first.
You might have to wait about a week for all of the sun. But remember, sun safety goes for the entire family. We all know we should wear sunscreen. With all the brands and the protection levels that are out there, how do we know what to pick? Dermatologist and founder of the Pediatric Sun Protection Foundation is Dr. Amy Brodsky, and she joins us now with some advice about this. Welcome. It's nice to see you here today.
Be here.
There are some sobering statistics about the damage the sun can do.
Yes, one person dies every hour of melanoma.
Really?
One person every hour.
Every hour.
And then 80% of skin damage occurs before the age of 18?
Yeah, there's the majority of the skin cancer that you get.
That's surprising.
Starts while you're young, shows up when you're older. And that's why people don't realize, they say, I never am in the sun. But they were before they were 18.
Got it. And then finally,
the melanoma is the 6th most common cancer?
Actually, skin cancer is the most common cancer of all cancers. Melanoma is the 6th most, because there's multiple kinds of skin cancer, but skin cancer is the most common form of cancer there is, because it's the largest organ of your body. Skin is the largest organ.
And that's because in our culture, we feel like, oh, the more tan the skin is, it's healthy, it's sexy, it's right.
I'm trying to change that mentality. It used to be back in the day that, you know, being tan was considered cool. Now I'm trying to say being fair and having, you know, nice, fair skin is beautiful.
Okay,
we're in trouble, Linda.
Yeah.
I know, we came this way.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so now we're going to talk about
exactly okay. Everybody's got different color skin.
Right.
And you should appreciate the color skin you were born with.
Exactly. All right, so some suggestions on what level to pick and how much you should put on.
Sunscreen is so confusing. There are so many different types out there, so many different brands. I am not loyal to one single brand, but I am going to tell you what's important and why the FDA has now changed the guidelines since December. So every sunscreen is now going to be like a drug on the drugstore. It's going to have to say UVA and UVB broad spectrum sunscreen. That it will automatically protect against UVA light, which causes aging, A for aging, and UVB, which causes burning. So you want to get something that says broad spectrum. It will no longer say sunblock. It has to say sunscreen. And it's not going to say sun waterproof anymore. It'll say water resistant, and it'll be either 80 minutes or 40 minutes. So rather than tell people which brands, I have different brands. I have my own brand. I have ones that you can buy on the internet, and I have ones that are store-bought. I say turn it around, look at the ingredients, and the higher the percentage of zinc or titanium, which are the non-chemical sunscreens, the better the sunblock. So anything that says babies on it is going to have zinc or titanium, and then the higher the percentage. Now,
for all of us, even as adults.
All of us. So don't discriminate. Now, the actual spray sunscreens, you can't micronize zinc small enough, and you blow them in the wind, and so they don't even get on your skin.
So not a lot of time left. So how much should we put on?
So you're supposed to be putting on. This is shocking. You're supposed to be putting on 1 to 2 ounces every 2 hours. That's 2 golf ball size. 2 shot glassfuls. Nobody does that, and so the number that they see on the bottle is not equivalent to what gets on their skin.
2 shot glassfuls.
2 of these.
2 every 2 hours.
Every 2 hours.
Here's what I love, and why I love this is, in what Pediatric Sun Protection Foundation encourages. Sun protective clothing, and these are SPF 100, so where you're wearing them, you don't have to put sunscreen on. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but where you're wearing them, and it blocks 100% of the UV rays.
That's always a good idea to try to have long sleeves. We are out of time, but thank you so much for your important information. We should let you know the Pediatric Sun Protection Foundation will be out at the Cubs game on
Yes, I want to show you the
free youth sun protective shirts to the first 5,000 young fans. Sun protective wear can also be purchased on their website. If you want a link to that and their sunscreen recommendations, go to our website, abc7chicago.com, and we'll be right back.
But anyway, May is Melanoma Awareness Month, and with the weather heating up, there is no better time to learn about skin cancer prevention.
That's right. So our Allie Bachler's live on the block at the beach with some important info about SPF. Morning, Allie.
Hey, Jean and Melissa, already it's a beautiful day here at North Avenue Beach. The sun is shining, and that means it's time to get back into the healthy habit of protecting your skin from the sun. And Dr. Amy, you know, somebody my age, it's important, but it's crucial for parents to protect their kids' skin.
Oh, yes. Allie, it's so great to be here. I'm a dermatologist, and I'm a mother of 2, Jake and Nicole, and I came here to tell you guys about sun protection. I started a foundation called PediatricSunProtection.org, and we're here to create adoption, awareness, and acceptance of sun protection.
There's some hardcore facts.
Hardcore facts.
A reality that people, you know, it's hard to listen to, but what are some of the stats here?
1 person's going to die every hour of melanoma.
Every hour. So it's important, Melanoma Month. And you've got an easy way to kind of remember when you're out doing stuff at the beach, or if you're at that sporting event, you got an easy way to remember. The slip, slap, slop sounds fun to me.
Okay, so it's called slip, slop, slap.
Okay.
Slip on a shirt. So I'm going to show you the shirt. These are awesome shirts. I'm wearing one. My kids are wearing one.
Okay, and these protect your skin from the sun.
Yes, they are SPF 100, UPF 50.
Love it.
They're great.
This one's great for me.
It's durable, it's reusable, it's wearable, and we are just touting shirts. You don't have to put sunscreen on that area of the body.
Right.
So that's slip. Then we want to slop on sunscreen. And I love the sticks. You know, the FDA just changed the labeling. It's got to be UVB and UVA, broad spectrum.
Okay, so these are really cool because it's a stick.
Yeah, and you've got the tinted one too, so it doesn't look like you're wearing sunscreen.
Ooh, I love it. So you slap on your sunscreen.
Slap on your sunscreen. And it's really important to know that you are supposed to apply at least 1 ounce if you're not wearing your sun protective shirts all over, or 2 ounces, which is the shot glass full. Nobody does that. That means
you're supposed to have, this is your measurement of how much you're supposed to use?
Yes.
Just 1 of these?
1 if you're not wearing your sun protective shirt. 2 if you
2 of these.
2 of those if you're not. 1 if you are.
Good to know. Okay, great.
Yeah.
And what's the ones that you recommend? What are some name brands out there? I know that you've got your own brand right here.
The Derm. I also recommend CeraVe. Anything that with zinc or titanium, broad spectrum, Blue Lizard, we've got Water Babies here.
Babies?
Water Baby is great too. You want to make sure it says broad spectrum. It's got a strong is great. And here's the important point. This is real important. You want to reapply every 2 hours. So if you're reapplying every 2 hours, 2 ounces, you're going to go through this real quickly.
Wow, yeah. And the last thing is we slap on the hat.
We
slip on the shirt, we slap on the sunscreen,
and we wrap around sunglasses. And for each inch, you decrease your risk of skin cancer by 10%.
Wow.
So 4 inches decreased by 40%.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Amy. We're looking good.
And we're having our event at the Cubs game, June 2nd. I can't forget that. We're giving away 5,000 sun protective shirts to all the kids that come. June 2nd, 1:30 game, partnering with the American Academy of Dermatology.
We can go to your website.
Yes, it's
for more information.
pediatricspf.org, and you can buy the shirts through the website. 20% goes back to my foundation.
Thank you for protecting us this morning,
Thank you.
Dr. Amy. And you guys get that sunblock on, except for Eugene Sparrow, because you're allergic, right? Back to you.
But I do have the kind that I use. I just have to be very careful. Now, listen, we have rules when we go to Hawaii.
I was thinking about you. I bought some sunscreen.
If you put on chemical sunscreen, you cannot touch me.
That was really great information.
And that's it.
What happens to you?
I
just
break
what are the
out.
consequences?
It's not cute.
But you
I
don't,
will
like, blow
swell
up like
You
a
have to do the
pufferfish?
show by yourself. I will be in my hotel room the whole time,
I'm gonna
suffering.
have to do the show.
Don't touch me.
All right, we'll see what happens. I still had the U.S. cities with the most expensive hotels. You got to stick around to see if you're...
In tonight's Medical Watch, some blistering facts about sun exposure and the damage it causes, especially in kids and young adults. A local dermatologist sheds light on the statistics while warning everyone to cover up.
I feel good when I'm tan. Everything just looks better when you're tan.
When 25-year-old Rachel Cohen isn't baking cookies at Manny's Deli in Chicago, she's baking her body in the sun, a habit she fell in love with in grade school.
Starting like around 5th grade, it started where, you know, everyone always went away winter break, and when you came home, you had to be the darkest person. It was a competition, and I had to win. And I did.
She may have crushed the competition with her killer tan, but now Rachel faces a new opponent, sun damage.
I guess it's from burning my chest over and over again. And it was like when I was 23, woke up one morning, and they were there. And it was sad.
Sunspots, the first outward signs of sun damage.
Did it change my habits? No. I hate to say it, but no. Still in the sun, you will always find me at the pool.
You'll also find her here at the dermatologist office. With sunspots popping up, Rachel comes in to have her skin checked.
The first one right away that I look at and I see is, you know, the one, big one on my chest.
A routine biopsy will show whether the lesion is cancerous, but there's no test to determine Rachel's future risk.
Most of your sun damage happens at a young age.
That's just one statistic dermatologist Dr. Amy Brodsky shares with her sun-worshipping patients. The others are equally alarming.
One blistering sunburn, which I told Rachel, can increase your risk of skin cancer by 50%. And just 5 sunburns alone can increase your risk of skin cancer by 50%. And it's alarming that 1 person dies of melanoma every hour, and people just don't realize that.
It's not the most common form of skin cancer, but it is the deadliest. For women between the ages 25 and 30, it's the leading cause of cancer death.
So before the age of 40, it's more likely to be women. And then after the age of 40, it's much more likely to be men.
And when it comes to tanning beds, anyone younger than 18 who sits inside drives up the risk of melanoma by 75%.
Tan is actually radiation and inflammation. It's not healthy.
That's why Dr. Brodsky is focusing on the young, kids who can form safe sun habits that will protect them well into adulthood.
I'm not saying they shouldn't have fun, but they should stay between the hours of 10 and 3. They should protect themselves. They should reapply sunscreen every 2 hours. You're supposed to put on at least 2 ounces of sunscreen every 2 hours. That's 2 shot glass worth of sunscreen. They should wear hats. They should wear shirts. We need to change the image. We need to tell people that fair is beautiful.
And if you are diagnosed with melanoma, doctors will tell you, unlike other cancers, there are no effective treatments. There is a great deal of study, though, and this weekend there's a fundraising effort for research. Join me in the Tebs Troops Miles for Melanoma race this Sunday at Montrose Harbor, where there will also be free skin screenings. All the information is on our webpage, WGNTV.com. Back to you.
So we're talking about acne today. We'd like to talk about our general approach when we see a patient. When I first look at a patient, the wheels are turning and I'm thinking, is this going to be a patient that I'm just going to be using topicals? Is this going to be a patient that I'm going to need oral medication? And so there's a bit of a recipe that I go through in my head. What about you?
Same type of an approach that I use. Is it somebody that's going to be compliant with a comprehensive topical regimen, or are they going to be better at just taking that pill once a day, or is it somebody that I might need to just immediately get more aggressive with and jump to using something that is a more aggressive treatment?
What I like about acne now is that we know we're good at it, and we know that we can get patients to be almost entirely cured. And so at this point, I may want to take an aggressive approach right away. It really depends on the patient.
And I feel that it also can depend on the level of scarring that they might be having. If they come in and they are already starting to get some scarring of their skin, that's the one of the things that might significantly I might significantly consider about going to a more aggressive approach.
Whether or not they have scarring. I like the fact that over the years we've become quite the experts in acne. And believe it or not, acne truly is an art, and not everybody's great at it. So we as a specialty really pride ourselves in being great at acne. One of my favorite products is Accutane, and there are tons of myths about Accutane. What do people usually ask you about Accutane?
Oh, there's a lot of different questions that one might ask about Accutane. Accutane's an oral medicine that we prescribe. Usually somewhere between 6 to 9 months does one take Accutane. And it's an amazing medicine that works amazingly for acne when it's given to the right individual. And it's probably the one thing that we can say can give you as close as possible to a cure for your acne.
I agree. I agree. But I do think that Accutane comes with a discussion, and here at the Derm we're excellent about teaching you about Accutane, making sure we go over all of the risks and the benefits, and making sure that you are happy at the end of your treatment.
Definitely. And at that end, if there are still any little residual acne bumps left or some scars, then there's always additional options that we can do to help you through that last little bit that you might have. My favorite recipe for acne is a combination of cleansers and topical products. My two favorite cleansers for acne are the medicated cleanser, and then at nighttime I'll often have one exfoliate, whether it's every night or a few times a week. Usually at night, I'll prescribe Retin-A or Retronex cream to use to help keep the skin exfoliated and to keep the bumps down on the skin. The Acne Wand is a great spot treatment to help dry up an individual pimple you may get here and there. If you have acne scars or dark marks from where old pimples were, Tissue Repair Gel is a cream that can go on both morning and or nighttime to help fade acne scars away.
Thanks, Courtney.
Teens getting plastic surgery sounds radical, but some parents see it as a way to spare their children years of torment and bullying. Depending on what your teen wants to get corrected, plastic surgery is not always the easy, affordable, or right decision.
And parents will need help deciding what course is right for their teen. Joining us are Dr. Amy Brodsky, a dermatologist and cosmetic surgeon in Glenview, and Dr. Michelle Epstein, a clinical psychologist in Deerfield. Good morning.
Good morning.
So let's talk about the most common surgical procedures for teens. We have a list up on the screen.
The most common surgical procedures that are invasive are usually nose jobs, breast reduction, breast augmentation, and even ear surgery, liposuction. But I also see a lot of non-invasive procedures, and that's what the bulk of my wheelhouse is: acne surgery, acne scarring, Botox for hyperhidrosis or sweating, and of course laser hair removal too for young teens.
I think something, you know, people have for years have seen something like, oh, you want to correct an ear or a nose problem,
Right.
but when people hear about teen girls getting breast augmentations is usually when they're like, are you kidding me? But once you turn, you know, if they have parent approval, they can do it starting
or older, right?
Wow. So what do you think psychologically the impact of this kind of thing is, Michelle?
Well, the thing is that we need to look at their motivation, right? Why do they want to do this? Sometimes girls want to do it to make themselves feel better, and they have realistic expectations about what that change will do. I'll feel better about my body and a little more confident. But their underlying psychology is pretty healthy. They are otherwise functioning pretty well. But a lot of times what we see, particularly in the media recently, is teens who've been bullied and they want to get nose jobs or some facial reconstruction, and they believe it's going to transform their lives. All of a sudden the bullying will stop. They won't be depressed. They'll feel confident. Those expectations are probably pretty unrealistic, and the data actually shows that after surgery, those symptoms tend to not improve, and sometimes they even get worse.
Why would they get worse?
Well, you know, I think that they get worse for two reasons. One is perhaps a disappointment of here you thought your life would be transformed and it wasn't. Now you're more depressed. And also because it's misguided to think that a physical remedy is going to address underlying psychological issues. Probably they need some accompanying therapy and mental health help.
Is there a difference when a teen initiates the request and when a parent does? Do you see parents pushing? That would surprise me, but maybe you see both.
Every day in my practice. And what I try to do is I talk to the child first, talk to the parent, talk to both of them and see, is it bothering the child? If it's bothering the child, yes, we definitely need to address it. If it's just bothering the parent, maybe we need to wait. For example, I saw a patient the other day that had a large mole on his back. It's been benign. He's had it for his whole life, but now he's 11 years old, wants to get it removed. It depends on the age. And it's really a case-by-case basis.
But if they're doing this because of some kind of anxiety, like you say, Michelle, can't that anxiety be alleviated in therapy before spending thousands of dollars cutting up your body?
Right. That's the important piece. And sometimes the surgery is a helpful piece, right? What we know is that when kids have surgery and adults, they do feel better about the part of their face that's been fixed. So it could be a piece. If you hate your nose and you get it done, you may feel better about your nose. But yes, we have to look at the underlying depression, low self-esteem. There's a lot of things we can do in therapy to help improve body image that don't involve surgical.
What are the health risks to a young girl who's just turned 18? I mean, just because you're 18 and legally an adult doesn't mean you've stopped growing and you're getting breast implants, let's say.
Right, and I mean, there's a slippery slope. Obviously, they need to be changed after 10 years, but I think it's very important to really listen to the patient and decide, is this a healthy decision, and do some psychological testing before you do any procedures. But I think, of course, for like something like acne scarring, I think that's really important to jump on early and to really let patients know that this is something we should treat now because it may bother them when they're older.
I wanted to say something about like the breast implants. The other thing we know about teens is as they grow physically and emotionally into their 20s, body image tends to get better, even in the absence of intervention. So when we're talking about the more risky invasive procedures, it really is prudent to wait into your 20s if you can convince, you know, young adults to do that, because sometimes we grow into our own a little bit and we decide we don't need those.
Yeah, you're like you're comfortable with who you are. You figure it out a little bit.
Absolutely.
I'm just curious. I'm sorry to interrupt. I was just curious though, what percentage of parents are driving these and what percentage are kids driving? I'd just be, is it 50-50?
I'm not sure the exact number, although I think it's becoming higher and higher that with both numbers, parents are driving it a lot. I mean, I see patients all the time. The parents come in, I say, does it bother you? And they say no. It's the parent that it's bothered.
Interesting.
Parents want their kids getting laser hair removal at 9 years old.
And related to that, what we know, we often blame the media that we have these unrealistic expectations about beauty. But what we know is that one of the biggest predictors of girls' body image is mom's body image. And, you know, I hate to blame us moms because we're blamed for everything. But there's a big piece of that. And so as a parent, you need to be aware of what messages you may be sending, even inadvertently, to your kids. You know, most of us would never tell our daughters that they're fat and ugly, hopefully, but we stand in front of the mirror every day and verbally and non-verbally do it to ourselves. And they're watching us, and that impacts them a lot.
And maybe it's the parents who need to be in therapy as much as the kids.
You don't know what we go through, Larry. It's real easy to judge.
Michelle, I have a new patient for you. And what about social media? I mean, you look on Facebook pages, and kids have hundreds of pictures of themselves.
Hyper-sexualized pictures of themselves.
And now they're very sensitive to what their pictures look like. They want to. They're striving for perfection earlier and earlier now because of these pictures, because of Instagram.
And just a good tip for everyone, the higher the angle, the better you look. I'm noticing that from the selfies. Larry, haven't you?
Just saved us both $5 grand on nose jobs, just with that little tip right there.
You can reach Dr. Amy Brodsky or Michelle Epstein at their websites, and you can also hear them most Saturdays at 2 p.m. on WGN Radio. Thank you, ladies, for being here.
Thanks so much.
The weather went with the music.
I know we need some rum punch too.
But I love that we went from Poland to Jamaica
with our musical
with our music selection in about 10 minutes. That's lovely.
Now it's about 11 minutes to the top of the hour. You've heard of the Freshman 15, but have you heard about the Siberia 7? The idea of putting on a bathing suit right now absolutely terrifies most of us, and if it does, we're not alone.
You are not alone. But there may be a way to get rid of the unwanted fat fast before summer arrives. You and Me's Mama Bear, planning editor Karen Wands.
Is that what we're calling her?
That's what we're calling her. She underwent something called cool sculpting. It's a non-surgical procedure that requires no downtime, but we do want to warn you that what you're about to see is indeed a medical procedure, so you may find some of the images to be a little graphic if you're one of those squeamish types. So take a look at how the cool sculpting works.
Karen.
Are you excited to do cool sculpting today?
I am excited.
All
I'm
right.
ready to get the fat taken away.
All right, so let me tell you, this is the machine. So basically what the machine does is it cools your fat, breaks open the fat cells, and slowly over a course of several months, the fat lyses or breaks open and excretes through your urine and your immune system. You're gonna get like 20 to 40% permanent reduction. It's not as much fat as liposuction would be, but again, there's no surgery. You're gonna be here for an hour. Okay, so
mostly would be right here.
So this is the large piece, and that fits perfectly right on here. We've got the largest amount here. So the first thing we do is we put the Cool Gel Max on. This is very cold, and this is what's keeping your skin from getting frostbite. This is why it's so safe. All right, so this is exciting. Are you excited?
I am excited.
Okay, so we're gonna put it on. Go ahead and put it on. And it just sort of takes your breath away. It's not as bad as the mammogram. Hey Karen, how was it? Sorry to wake you up. It hurts a little bit when you take it off, but then you'll be fine. And then we're gonna massage the fat.
Whoa.
And now we massage it. So, flab to fab. Ideally, it takes a couple months to see the results. It can be at least 3 to 6 months, but we're gonna wanna check in with you as we go along, and we'll get you back in here and we'll see you in 2 months and see what kind of results you have.
Awesome. Hopefully before that, we'll have some good results.
That is wild.
Wow.
We were
It was
grabbing
like a
each other,
shrimp mold.
and we yelled when it came up.
Well, Karen is here with us to tell us all about it. So Karen, wow. Did it hurt?
It does hurt a little bit, but like I said, it did not bother me as much as a mammogram. So I
can't believe that. Mammograms don't bother me at all. They haven't been that bad, so I can't imagine.
They bothered me a little bit.
Yeah.
Afterward, though, it does feel like you have a bruise for a good week or two. It's very tender, right, as I sit here pushing, right?
As you sit here pushing on it.
Right.
Okay, so what happened the next day? Was that the bruising feeling?
Yeah, it felt like that. You didn't want to push it or touch me, but you don't see any bruising or anything. There's you see nothing.
Okay.
Okay, and so then you laid there on that bed, you took a nap for an hour with that machine on,
Yes.
and then take it off, you go home, and then, so are you noticing, I don't know if you're going to take your shirt off right now for us, or what you're planning on doing.
I do have a before and after.
Oh,
there
good.
it is. And that's
Wow,
Karen.
It's only after 4 weeks, actually, and you know, Dr. Amy says it really takes up to 8 weeks to get your final results, but I think yes, I see there is a difference after only 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And you're happy with those results? I would be
happy.
I would be really happy. Now, if we wanted, like, say somebody doesn't have just the pooch, because a lot of us have the pooch, but people sometimes have weight elsewhere. Can you use it on any part of the body?
You can use that particular piece on the parts where you can squeeze it up, but now they've just come out with, I hear, another apparatus where you can use it on pieces, and I'm kind of excited because I don't like the top of my knees. I have fat on the top of my knees, but you can't pinch
Isn't
it
it
up.
funny? People have their own, like, Karen, in a million
I've never noticed.
Yeah, those knees really need help.
So now this new thing, you just, from what I hear, you just lay on it without pinching it up. So then that will be able to do it on any part of the body.
Because I have fat like right here.
Wait, I want to do it on my, can you do it on your neck?
I don't know. You'd have to ask the doctor. So actually I met Dr. Amy because I brought my son there, and my son was misdiagnosed for these skin conditions, so I was able to get in.
Because she's a regular dermatologist as well.
She's a great dermatologist first and foremost.
Got it.
So treating him, she knew what he had within 10 minutes, and he was misdiagnosed by like 3 other doctors. So I was desperate to get into someone else, and my friend got me into her, and we just started talking about all these things. Oh, that's cool. Oh, she says, oh, you want to try it? Yeah. So.
Yeah, because you see it, Gina, we've talked about this, you see posters for that, like as women, and you're like, okay, what's that laser, and what's that cool sculpting, what does it do?
And does it really work, and that sort of thing. Okay, so is it expensive?
Well, for what I had done, so this whole big piece run $1,600. So it's kind of pricey, but there's a lot of people who they've done over 2,000 treatments at their facility. So I mean, they know what they're doing, and her nurse.
And you know what? There are hard to get rid of fat deposits.
Yeah, like
you know what I'm saying? That you can work out for 100 years and you'll never get rid of them.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Karen.
That's cool, Karen.
Good job.
Keep going.
Thanks for going and doing all this stuff for us and trying things out so we can go later.
Right.
If you want to try out cool sculpting for yourself, head on over to their website, thederm.net, for more information, and check out Dr. Amy Brodsky.
Cool. All right, still ahead, we have a list of the 5 happiest cities in the nation.
You and Me is coming right back.
Just that.
Welcome back to the ballpark. Dr. Amy Brodsky is with us, founder of Pediatric Sun Protection Foundation. As we get into the summer here, it is cold today, but got to protect your skin on a day like this. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, tell us about Play Sun Smart Day.
So Play Sun Smart is something that we teamed up with Pediatric Sun Protection Foundation, the American Academy of Dermatology, and Skin of Steel to encourage everyone out here to have fun in the sun, but play smart.
And we have some sunscreen right here, actually. SPF 30, which protects against both UVA and UVB rays. Tell us the difference between those two, UVA and UVB. That's key, right?
Key. Okay, here's my little mnemonic. A is for aging and B is for burns. So UVA, aging, UVB, burns. You want to make sure that you protect against both of them. So you always look for a broad spectrum sunscreen.
One strike on Adani Echeverria. So today, I heard some announcements before the game about protecting your skin. Now, you're supposed to reapply every 2 hours?
Yep, every 2 hours. You're supposed to use anywhere between 1 to 2 ounces every 2 hours. Most people don't apply that much, and that's why if you're using an SPF of 30, you're really only applying probably an SPF of 15.
Okay. Here's the 0-2, and it's way outside, 1 and 2. Pitcher Alvarez on deck.
So 30 is not good enough? You need to go bigger?
No, you don't have to go any bigger.
Just go 30, but go often.
Go 30, go often, apply thickly.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. So the mission of PSPF is?
Our mission is to wear sun protective shirts. Even though we're using sunscreen, we're still getting skin cancer. The rate of skin cancer is on the rise. So our mission is to wear sun protective clothing and to get it on the backs of every kid.
So the swim shirt, the idea here is there is clothing that protects against UVA and UVB rays, and that just makes sense in terms of coverage, right?
Right. It blocks 98% of your UV.
Strike on the pitcher, Alvarez. He can hit. See, 190 this year, but 250 so far in his career with a homer and 3 doubles. There's the 0-1 from Arrieta. Big swing and a miss. Yikes.
Fully committed to that swing. He's not going to get cheated. Commit early. Kind of the Evan Gaddis school of hitting.
trying to get together here. Baker wanted a high fastball. Arrieta said no. Then he asked for a curve. The 0-2 just got a piece of. I've told this before. I had a melanoma discovered back in 2006. Fortunately, they got it early, but obviously getting sun screenings, right, is a good idea. Skin checks.
Yearly skin checks, and we want to make sure that we wear the sun protective clothing. I'm wearing the shirt right now. It's a SPF 100.
Okay, swing and a miss, and they'll get the out at first. So 2 down in the inning. I know Derek Lowe, former big league pitcher, had melanoma and was very active in telling kids to put on sunscreen. And JD, I mean, baseball players that spend their whole 7-8 months in the sun.
Right. 80% of your sun damage happens before the age of 18.
Go ahead.
We're advocating to protect children so that they don't show up in my office later with melanoma.
Christian Yelich takes a strike.
Man, when kids were young and they feel like they're bulletproof, right? So they go out and they hang out in the sun all day and they just want to get that $1 million tan, and there's a price to be paid.
Exactly. A healthy glow isn't really a healthy glow.
Gets by everybody.
Right.
Okay, so let's sum up. Swim shirts for the kids. Reapply sunscreen every 2 hours and make sure you get the right sunscreen that protects against UVA and UVB rays.
People vow to eat less and exercise more.
Most diets and workouts boast they can melt your pounds away, but now there's a way to freeze your fat off. You're looking at a cool new way to lose weight. Cool is the operative word.
It's extremely cold. It feels like a cold vacuum that is sucking and kind of like rolling your skin around.
The procedure is called cryolipolysis. It freezes the fat cells, but not your skin. Once frozen, the fat cells break open and pass through your system permanently. Kim Weiner says it's given her results she never thought possible. Yoga, running, and dieting never quite did the trick for the 51-year-old North Suburban mom. She was okay with her shape in the before picture, but she's ecstatic about the after.
I think I've always had a good self-image on my body. There has been areas of concern that no matter what I did, I could not get rid of particular, what I called pockets of fat.
Coming in. Thank you.
Dermatologist Dr. Amy Brodsky has performed this procedure on dozens of patients.
You'll see about a 25% decrease in the amount of fat.
One small catch, it takes anywhere from 2 to 6 months to see results, and you really only lose inches from the area, not pounds. Dr. Brodsky says cryolipolysis is about spot reduction of problem areas. The ideal candidate is within 30 pounds of their ideal weight and
somebody who's relatively thin and just has unwanted bulges that no matter how much they work out, they can't get rid of.
This man, who asked to remain anonymous and be called Dave, says the procedure has been so successful, he doesn't want anyone else to steal his secret.
People have told me it looked like I lost a massive amount of weight.
Dave has had several treatments focusing on his midsection and back.
I first had a procedure here, here, and here.
The 50-something father and husband says his before and after pictures don't begin to capture the emotional benefits.
I've lost about 3.5 inches.
That's awesome.
And I'm really happy.
Dave says he just feels better.
I was very uncomfortable. Where I sat, when I bend, when I got up, the way my clothes fit.
Here's what your skin and your fat looks like right after the procedure.
So it comes out looking like a stick of butter.
It goes back to normal within an hour or so. Unlike any weight loss surgery, you can go back to work the same day. Staying fit is often called the battle of the bulge. Kim's fighting every day by exercising and eating right. She just looks at cryolipolysis as a secret weapon.
And it's an amazing tool to use when, in fact, you can't get rid of it on your own.
All right, fat freezing has not been approved by the Food and Drug Administration, but there are a number of studies on cryolipolysis that find it to be safe and effective. You should talk to your doctor before doing this or any other medical procedure.
I think hair loss can be really difficult. It can be difficult for the patient. It can be difficult to diagnose it. It can certainly be difficult to treat it. So what's your approach to hair loss?
Typically, it depends on how the patient looks clinically when I examine them. And it can take a few different appointments to actually get to the bottom of it. It's not only just about the physical exam in everybody. I might often have to do blood work to determine if there's an underlying medical reason to the hair loss. I might also even have to do a biopsy of the scalp to see if there's anything going on underneath the skin surface.
One of my favorite pills to prescribe a patient is Viviscal. I think it actually works pretty well.
Viviscal is amazing. Typically it is a vitamin-based medicine that really has very minimal side effects and can absolutely help the hair grow thicker, longer, and stronger. When taken at the earliest stages of male pattern hair loss, it can absolutely be one of the best things to help treat and potentially even prevent future loss of hair.
And let's not forget minoxidil, also known as Rogaine. Men and women alike see lots of improvement from Rogaine. We have to make sure, though, that your hair loss is in fact from aging and not necessarily from any other pathology.
To sun exposure, your younger years are the most vulnerable, and that's why sun safety for kids and teens is so vital to prevent skin cancer later in life. And I'm joined this morning by Dr. Amy Brodsky, who has started a sun safety initiative of her own to try and get kids to wear swim shirts and sun protection. And I think we're not, or have not realized the importance of it until now. But some of the statistics are startling on skin cancer, especially for young children's exposure.
Absolutely. In my practice, I'll see patients 30 and older for skin cancer screenings, but what nobody realizes, and the important thing, is that 80% of all sun damage occurs before the age of 18, 80 under 18, and that's the organization that I've started to get people to realize that skin cancer is actually a pediatric disease. It starts when you're young, and you can prevent it.
And I guess that's why really sun protection is so important. Now, the younger years are more vulnerable, and that's why sunscreen more important?
Right. There's actually two major forms of sun protection. There's sunscreen, and then there's sun protective clothing. But what people don't realize that every time you go out, you have to reapply every 2 hours, 2 ounces every 2 hours, which means that a family of 4 on vacation would have to bring all of this sunscreen.
Oh, my word.
Which actually is about $250. That's really, really unrealistic.
Well, you don't really think of it that way.
Yeah, if you're actually doing it the way the SPF value on the bottle is, you're going to be applying every 2 hours, 2 ounces to the entire body for a family of 4. Another great alternative are the swim shirts. They're really, really cool. They're 100% SPF. They're cost effective, and they're very efficient. You don't have to keep reapplying sunscreen. Now, I'm not saying not to use sunscreen, but you should use it with your swim shirts.
And now, these will protect, is this 100%?
100% SPF from the areas that you're using. And they're cool. And in my child's camp, I'm piloting the first ever program called Cool in the Pool. And we're buying the campers 2,000 swim shirts.
Oh, that's a great idea.
And we're going to incentivize them, give them presents, give them prizes for every day that they wear swim shirts.
Do kids resist this more, or the sunscreen? You know, I think they almost dislike both.
You would think that they would want to wear these, and that's the whole point. You wouldn't send your child out on a bicycle without a bike helmet. So why would you send them to camp into swimming pools without a swim shirt?
And what are you finding in your practice in terms of why those early years actually trigger more skin cancer later on?
Kids are outside more often, and basically it's messy, it hurts, people don't want to put sunscreen on, and so they don't realize that every 2 hours they have to reapply. So they're coming back from camp sunburn.
Yeah, especially on a weekend like this where they're going to be hot and sweaty and they're going to sweat it off. They're going to need to really work at it. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate you being here.
And if you need to buy a swim shirt or you want to get more information, you can go to www.facebook.com/80under18. And if you put the promotional code 80under18, we're actually giving away free swim shirts and free shipping.
All right. Well, that's great.
Yeah.
All right. You've got something to protect all the kids this weekend. All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Anthony.
So I started Pediatric Sun Protection Foundation because I wanted my kids to feel just like everybody else and wear their sun protective clothing. So we started this foundation about 2 years ago, and our mission is really to have children wear sun protective shirts. So our tagline is, be a sun hero, shield your children from the sun.
Habits for children have to be formed at a very young age. So in order to be able to improve sun protection in those who are at risk to develop skin cancer, we need to have them begin to protect themselves at approximately 2 to 6 years old. So what we're trying to do is see if providing the children with sun protection shirts will offer better sun protection than can be achieved with putting on messy creams.
In doing research, it changes guidelines, and we need that evidence of showing that it works on a smaller scale to hopefully develop a larger program and get the word out there.
Every day in my office, I'm treating skin cancer. Most of my patients are older when I tell them that they have skin cancer. What they don't realize is that the majority of their sun damage happens before the age of 18. So with prevention, we can eventually eliminate some forms of skin cancer.
It's a tragedy that most of the people who have skin cancer, specifically melanoma, are often young women, and they're taken from their families and from their children in the prime of their life in their 30s.
Every year I will go to a dermatologist because of the moles I have now, and because I will get moles continually throughout my life. So I know to protect myself now, but had I known what I know now back when I was a teenager, I would have done things very differently.
In order to prove that pediatricians are willing and able to get the word out about the improved sun protection that is available from sun shirts, we require funding.
$10 can buy one child a shirt. We would like to give these away, have every child between the age of 6 months and 6 years old go to their pediatrician, get a free voucher for a shirt, and wear these.
So I just feel that this study is very novel, it's interdisciplinary, and it's one of the only ones I know, of its kind. So it is groundbreaking in that, that's private practice dermatologist, it's a university-based dermatologist, and I think the Pediatric Sun Protection Foundation is doing a great job of getting the word out there and creating advocacy, and I'm proud to be a part of this.
Our mission is to really make this the norm so that every child in the next 10 to 20 years would not think twice about putting these shirts on. It would become the norm.
It's just, if you can make a change so much earlier in life, it impacts your future. It reduces the anxiety and not only that, but it reduces the risk of getting skin cancer. So to me, that's really imperative.
Your granddad's personal maintenance. We're talking about Botox, manscaping, other spot treatments for dudes. They're growing in popularity. We have dermatologist Amy Brodsky here with some unique gift ideas for Father's Day.
Yeah.
And I guess the whole idea is that, and thanks for being here, Dr. Brodsky, but the whole idea is that guys they're not embarrassed to embrace new ideas these days.
Right. Men are actually working longer. They need to make money. They have to look younger for their jobs. And so they're coming to me and they're asking me, what can we do for our faces? Some people want non-invasive things, so I'll start with the topical things. And there's, you know, the packaging will look like it's for men. How to shave. If you're a traveler, how to take along a couple steps. Men don't want to do a lot of steps. I'll tell them to do sunblock in the morning and maybe a retinoid and an antioxidant at night. And so that will start with the topical stuff, but then hair loss is a big deal for men. And so what can a man do just shy of getting a hair transplant? So I'll always prescribe Propecia if they want that. This is a great nutraceutical or vitamin Viviscal where you can get it dispensed in the doctor's office, and that helps make your hair thicker. And then, of course, minoxidil or Rogaine, 5% for men, that improves hair loss. And then finally, what's becoming so popular now is the injectables, the Botox, the Dysport. So for men who have crow's feet, for possible glabella lines, a little bit of Botox works great.
I have no idea what you're talking about, Dr. Brodsky.
Nothing.
So wait, you take, so how many, how does it work? Does it hurt, or tell me about it?
No, I mean, in the right hand, it's very gentle. I just do a little poke, poke, and then in about 2 weeks, your wrinkles are gone. You look a little less intense, a little younger, a little happier. And then people who have the facial atrophy or the fat loss as they get older will inject Sculptra or something called Voluma, which is new to the market, and that will give you about a 2-year improvement in your facial wrinkles. And then finally, men are liking non-invasive devices that don't hurt. Laser hair removal, microdermabrasion, venous freeze. This is a radio frequency device that tightens your skin. We'll typically do it on the face and on the neck. Men want their necks tightened. And this is, a lot of times men will come into my office and they'll fall asleep when they're doing this because it's so relaxing. Doesn't hurt at all.
No, there's no, it just feels like little tiny needles coming out, but very, very slight.
Not really needles, more like heat.
Okay, more like heat.
More like heat. Men don't like needles. Men like to know nothing's going to hurt.
And so this kind of I do too, but this kind of a treatment will tighten up your face, your neck, your whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's done in a series of treatments, and then you'll have to kind of maintain it once every couple months.
Well, we have to do the left hand now too, so they both look.
Sure, yes, because you don't want one hand to be less wrinkled than the other.
Dr. Amy, thank you very much.
Thank you
a lot of
so
good
much.
ideas here, and I know a lot of folks are interested in looking into these ideas. Thanks for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Coming up next, from stage to street or street to stage, deconstructing a perfect Chicago accent. We'll talk about that coming up. And before the internet sensation called planking, there was this kind of planking. It's said to be a key step to a really great body.
Almost here, and that means long days at the beach or the park or whatever, just being outside. Absolutely. All the summer fun means, though, you have to protect yourself. So we have some good tips for you here. Joining us, dermatologist Dr. Amy Brodsky. She's the president of the Pediatric Sun Protection Foundation. Thanks so much for being here with us.
Hi, thanks for having me.
And I'm aware that you and Bill Bellis go around the schools talking to kids about how important it is to be safe, because I know that what happens when you're young, as far as the sun goes, can impact you later in life.
Absolutely. In fact, the most common cancer is skin cancer. And we have the ability to change what can happen to our children in the future.
Preventative measures, right?
Preventative measures.
All right, so apparently, as you tell us, there are 4 different key ways to prevent sunburns and pediatric skin cancer. So tell us about that.
Okay, so I kind of talk about the 4 S's. So sunglasses, sunscreen,
all right,
sun protective shirts, and sun hats. So I'll go into a little bit more about sunscreen. The FDA just changed their guidelines now. You want to make sure that you have a broad spectrum sunscreen.
Okay.
You want to make sure that the labeling says it's UVB and UVA. And you want to make sure that it says water resistant for 80 minutes or 40 minutes. And it's interesting because most people don't realize that you have to put on 2 ounces or 2 shot glasses or 2 golf ball size.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of sunscreen. And a lot of these bottles aren't even that large. And you're supposed to reapply them every 2 hours.
Like, say, this bottle right here.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's not going to last you very long.
This barely fills maybe a shot glass and a half, so.
Absolutely. I would say only 1 in 3 people actually use sunscreen, and only 1 in 5 people use it the right way.
So, Doc, does that apply to people of various, obviously, different skin tones and types? I mean, our little guy, should I be wearing it, or should be putting on as much, or should I be putting on more?
Everybody can get skin cancer. More common in Irish people, but everybody should be wearing sunscreen.
So take the same approach, no matter what color of skin that you have.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Can we get a tight shot of Patrick's face, by the way? Because Patrick's been outside a bit.
And he should be wearing a hat, a sun hat.
It's red.
It's beautiful.
So when I go out the door in the morning,
yep,
should I be putting on something like this, or maybe some regular lotion with an SPF in it?
You should be putting on sunscreen that's at least SPF 30.
Okay, and then throughout the day, reapplying?
Reapply every 2 hours.
Okay.
And what I really love are these sun protective shirts because they have an SPF of 100. And we're having this event at the Cubs game, June 2nd. We're giving away 5,000 sun protective shirts to all the kids.
That's great.
Yep. And we're doing this with the American Academy of Dermatology. And it should be great. You guys should all come out. What I love also is these are affordable, durable. You don't have to keep putting sunscreen on in all the areas that you have this. And it's great. Well, I encourage my kids to wear them all the time.
So if you're just wearing a regular shirt, that blocks out some of the sun, but not the same way as, say, a special shirt does.
This has zinc in it. It has tight weave. It's got materials such that you don't get any sun in between them.
And also, when you're out at the Cubs game, say if it's a hot day and people are sweating a couple of times during the game, you should kind of just go reapply?
Every 2 hours, reapply. And remember, you're supposed to reapply at least 2 ounces.
Wow. And then how important, I know you have sunglasses here, because I know a lot of young kids, when they're outside, they're not really thinking about their eyes.
Right.
How big of a deal are the sunglasses?
It is a big deal, especially with kids. You can get sunburn in your eye. You can get melanoma in your eye as well.
Wow.
And those block out 90% of the UV damage.
Yeah. So I never knew that. You can actually get skin cancer in your eye, or melanoma in your eye?
You can get melanoma in your eye. You can get skin cancer around your eye as well.
Wow. See, we're learning a lot today. So.
Yeah, and 1 person dies of melanoma every hour.
Well, you're keeping it fun. You're making it educational.
It's fun. And these are really cool shirts, and they're popular and great, and I want kids to wear them all the
There you go. It's like we're a new rap group
great.
here. This is an album cover. You see this? See? we are the sun safety crew. Like that? Right here. There you go. Album cover. Check it out. Doctor, thanks so much for stopping by. Some very useful stuff. We learned some things today as well. So be safe out there.
Yeah,
Thanks again.
And if you want any shirts, you can go to my website. It's pediatricspf.org.
Thank you. Pediatricspf.org. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
All right.
You look ridiculous as I feel.
We both do. All right, Bill Bellis up next with a check of the weather. Stay with us.